I think that another important thing about yoga is it's observation, right? Like you're observing your experience and you're trying not to judge it and you're trying to not have expectations for yourself. You are just observing it and experiencing it. And I think that sensation, like moving your body and doing things with your body, evokes sensation. And I think that sensation is a great way to get information about who you are and what you are and the things that affect you and how they affect you, and just getting to know your body better. And I think that building an awareness of your body, that like sensational information, I think that helps us to do things. I think the more we can feel in our bodies, the more of our bodies we can feel and become aware of how we can use it, then the easier it's going to be to use it. And we can use it to do all sorts of cool stuff that we want to do. So, yeah, tune in, right? Every time you come to do yoga, tune in. And you can do yoga while you're standing and doing the dishes. You could do yoga while you're reading, the way that you're reading, the way that you're sitting, the way that you breathe, or the awareness of your breath while you're doing something. So always trying to keep bringing in that awareness of how you're using your body and how you're using your breath. And maybe that starts to affect how you use your mind and how you use your emotions. And I think it affects everything. So try to approach, it's the way that you approach life. It's the way that you do one thing is the way that you do everything, whether you mean to or not, because of the habitual response to things, the habitual response that the body has, muscle memory of how they get into the car, of how you sit onto the couch, of how you take a shower, how you go to the bathroom, all of that stuff, it's all connected. So I'm just trying to encourage as much awareness as you can, bringing in that mindfulness of like, how can I use my body with less effort? How can I get it all to work together so I can share the effort throughout my whole self and see how that might help in whatever way possible. I think there's a lot of ways that it could help. So I'm looking at my notes. I want to make sure that I've got everything. So paying close attention to the subtle body, the subtle shifts and changes that only you get to feel. That's why I want to try to encourage you to move slow and with control as much as possible. Not rigidity control, not rigid control, but just like really listening and feeling and breathing, and that takes experience, that takes some time sometimes. And the other thing I want to say is trying to imagine that, if you are sitting in a posture for for a long time, like say you want to try and sit and meditate, when you sit down to meditate, like whether it's for like 30 seconds or 5 minutes or whatever, 3 hours, when you sit and breathe and try to close your eyes and just, still yourself, what is that like? And can you experience it? All of the sensations about it, just slowing down. And notice when thoughts do go by, could they go by like sailboats? Like, could you just watch them go by? And I have this funny image that like when I do watch the sailboats go by, I like imagine the words of my thoughts, or maybe like the experience of my thought, like maybe it's a person on that sailboat, like I'm thinking about this person, or like maybe it's this one time in my life, or this one thing that I have to do, and it's like different cartoon images on the sailboat. And so I really get to watch it, and it's really kind of fun. It's like this cool like regatta or whatever that's called. as the sailboats like show themselves. And so it's this beautiful, pristine like lake or river or ocean or whatever you want it to be, and you just get to watch them go. It's very cool. And you can do that while you're inside of a pose. You can do that while you're sitting still. Sometimes I even do that while I'm talking to somebody else. Like maybe I've zoned out of the conversation and I'm just kind of like thinking about it. I try not to do that. I try to have conversations, but it's funny. So another thing that I want to do is one more breathing exercise. So, yeah, cool. I'm going to turn it up just a tiny bit. And then zoom ski. Cool. Yeah, works. A little bit. Okay, so Ujjayi breath. Ujjayi breath is kind of like Darth Vader breath. Ujjayi. It makes me think of a loogie. And it's sort of like you're trying to get a loogie out, but not like with any sort of force. It's like the most gentle possible way you could get a loogie out. And Ujjayi is like that kind of like thick sounding in your throat. I don't want it to feel like you're choking or anything like that, but it's kind of like a constriction. It's nose-throat breathing. So in through your nose, down the back of your throat. The easiest way to explain how to do it is if you just breathe like you're fogging up a mirror, like you breathe out like you're fogging up a mirror, and that's the same thing as the lion's breath, right? When you're like kind of like that, only just like more gentle. So I want you to try to imagine that you're trying to make that same sound when you breathe in. But instead of keeping your mouth open when you're breathing in, you close your mouth and you still try to make that same sound. And sometimes it helps if you do the exhale, so and then you try a couple of times with your lips sealed again. Oh wait. Oh wait. Okay. So lips sealed. So then you're trying to slow it down, exaggerate it a little more, make it a little longer, like go all the way to the very, 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 very end of your exhale, and then all the way to the very, 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 very top of your inhale. And while you do it, like use your body to kind of make a little bit more room, filling your belly up. You can't see it, but I'm like really filling my belly up when I inhale. And I fill up from my belly, through my ribs, through my throat, all the way up into my skull. And then I exhale from my skull, down my ribs, down my belly, all the way out into my hips and into the ground. So really trying to use your whole body to breathe in and breathe out. And breathe in. And breathe out. Good, cool.